buying movie tickets,
economics.
going to restaurants.
Big question mark is the GBA going to do exactly the same
Place
thing?
cash.
Wishing all of you a very good health and in your business doing well, and also making Hong Kong a really important part of this whole world development. So Happy New Year again. And this is today's also the Chinese Valentine's Day. So go and enjoy the day. But before we get into all that, we have a very interesting individual to join us today, Mr. Paul Loo, the COO of Lalamove, going to be our VIP speaker of the day. Paul has a vast experience over almost 30 years or just 30 years?
More than 30 years.
More than 30 years. Useful look, but already have 30 years of really the good experience with international firms. He was my colleague previously at Cathay Pacific. Later on, this is only your second job, right?
Yes. Hopefully the last.
Hopefully the last. We'll see. Like your previous boss always said his favorite quote, never say never. So we are very happy that Paul will come and talk to us about his company, the company he's working for, Lalamove. For those who do not know, Lalamove is actually the Hong Kong local grown brand. You may think that the name sounds very shu, huh? It may be from the mainland or other parts of the world, but actually this is a very homegrown brand, and it started off as many of the companies being so successful later on, SME. SME with a different name. I'm going to ask Paul why they changed name. Is because divorce and get married again, or for other reasons the name been changed when they first accepted. So Paul will be sharing his journey of Lalamove with us, and then later on we'll do some interactions. I'll do some questions, but I'll have more time for our audience to ask Paul the questions. So without further ado, Paul, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. I think I'll just...
Actually, I want to ask you, you dress like the Jensen Huang. Why are you taking off the leather jacket?
Unlike Jensen, this is not bought by my wife.
Well, Jensen Huang's trademark is his leather jacket, yeah.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Patrick, and good to see everyone. Happy Chinese New Year again. Before I start, just want to ask, how many of you have used our apps? Raise your hands. How many of you have not used our apps but know who we are? So how many have no idea what do we do? Okay. So hopefully after this little sharing, you'll get to know more about us and becoming our user. All right. Just like Patrick mentioned, I only have 2 jobs in my life so far. Spent 28 years with Cathay Pacific, have done almost everything, and then left a few years ago and have been with Lalamove over the last 5 years. So sometimes when I went out to do some talk, people mistaken that I founded the company. No, my boss founded the company. He's younger and more handsome. So don't mix up the two. Okay, what I want to do is, other than talking about our history, I just want to illustrate using us as an example how a Hong Kong company go global. Because Hong Kong has been, and I hope it will always be, in international cities. And we have produced some very great international company in the past. But the circumstances keep changing, technologies, geopolitical situations, making it more difficult for Hong Kong to replicate old models. And we are one of those, I would say, the new generation company in Hong Kong that have a strong foothold here. Also have a very, we are actually the market leader in mainland China and have a global footprint. So hopefully that will set an example to the youngster who just got into a tech startup, showing them there is a path. Actually, your company can be big moving forward. We started in 2013. At that time, we were called Easy Van. The concept pretty straightforward, just like any tech startup founder trying to get a van, cannot find it, take a long time to call, and essentially, why don't we do it through an apps by ourselves? So we started in 2023. And shortly after that, next year, we already start to think abroad. The first market, actually, I was told, they was thinking about was Japan. But before we even started, we failed. We partnered with the wrong guy, lost some money, and we didn't do it. So Singapore was the first market. And shortly after that, we went back to mainland China too. And you can see that over the years, we have covered almost all the major cities in Southeast Asia, not just the capital. We are in all the second tier or even third tier cities around Southeast Asia. So if you look at, go to Malaysia, for example, you can find us not just in KL, Penang, but Johor, Malacca. We just started in Kuching a few months ago, or in Philippines. Other than Mindanao, we are covering the entire Visayas and Luzon. So that's the type of expansion we have been having in Southeast Asia. And then we went to Latin America back in 2018-19. We are now covering 17 cities in Brazil. Brazil is one of our major markets outside of mainland China. And we are also covering Mexico City. So during COVID, we opened up Bangladesh, Dhaka. How many of you have been to Dhaka? Okay. If you don't know how Xiangwan was like in the 30s, go to Dhaka. It took us a while to opening up new market again. Later on, I may share a bit more why it took us so long to open up a few more. The last couple of markets we opening up were Tokyo, Japan, back in late August last year. And then we are now in Istanbul, Turkey, starting from November. We are about to launch our first Middle East operations end of this month, literally the last day of this month in Dubai. And we are planning to go to Saudi Arabia second half of the year. And beyond that, we are looking at other markets too. At the same time, we have been covering more than 300 cities in mainland China. So if you have been to mainland, our brand over there is called Huolala. So same group, two brands. So roughly our scale, because we have been submitting our paper to go for IPO with Hong Kong Stock Exchange, so I can only share the figures that we have published. So up to the first half of last year, on a monthly basis, we have driver partners, about 1.4 million driver partners, 15 million users. But that's only up to first half of last year. And those numbers keep growing every single second. And depends on how you look at the competition landscape. We are actually the biggest closed loop tech-enabled logistic platform in the world. So these are the three strategies we follow. And I think that's very important for business to go global. Because we have been seeing that a lot of new tech startups happening in Hong Kong, which is a very good thing. Some of them are doing quite well in their funding. I can see some of them will become unicorn and eventually go for IPO. But what's after that? How can you go beyond the Hong Kong market? How can you go back to compete with the tech giants in mainland China? And how can you replicate your model around the world? And I hope that we have demonstrated there is a way to do it, and we have done it. And these are the three major elements we think that's very important that guide us through the last 11 years. First is the business model. Then you got to make sure your business is scalable. And last but not least is the talent. Very simple. Our business model, when we were small, we always tell people that we are the logistic clone of Uber. But nowadays, we are proud to talk about our unique model. I always share with people that this is an important golden triangle. Because if you listen to the media, they will only focus on the conflict between the platform and the driver partners. But actually behind the scene, as members of the chambers, the SME is the very important part of this relationship. So what we do is we have driver partners on one side, and then we have user on the other side. User through our platform look for driver partners to match and pick up their orders. And why both sides are doing so? Because the driver partners, especially if they're independent driver, they may not have the entire day occupied. through the platform, they can see a lot more orders and they can make the best use of their time and improve their income. On the user side, most of the users, they may have to go for third-party logistic services in the past, which is pretty high cost, especially when it comes to last mile delivery, or they have their own in-house fleet and drivers, which is usually insufficient capacity during the peak and maybe excessive capacity during the slack. But by using our platform, you don't need to invest in the fixed cost. You can scale up during the peak by using the platform, and you don't need to carry all the fixed costs during the slack. So what we want to deliver to these two stakeholders are lower logistic costs for the users and then high income for the drivers. How can that magic happen? That we can please both sides of the world because of tech in between, and we eliminate the inefficiency with both the drivers and the users. So this is the business model we have, and this is the same business model we carry through to every single market that we launch. So these are just a few examples that we have in different parts of the world, how we grow with the users. Some of them, they were small, but as they grow, especially after COVID, they don't need to invest in any fixed costs, but we help them to scale up quickly. Some of them, they may become our users when we launch in the capital, but as we expand beyond to the second tier, third tier cities, or when they expand, we follow them and then we grow together in a different geographic area. And then some of the users that we talk to, they keep winning and winning over their competition because competition still stay with the old way of doing business, but they digitize their business. We are part of their digitization on the logistics side, and they managed to beat the competition because of the improvement in cost efficiency. So everywhere we go, our major customers, they are actually SME. Roughly speaking, including mainland China, more than 80% of our users are SME. And SME, as we all know, are always the backbone of individual economy. So we are very proud that we can help the local SME to grow and strengthen the local economy. We also have solutions to serve larger enterprise who are typically more demanding and cheaper in revenue, but maybe more sizable income. So we have a specific solution for them. And we do have individual consumer as our users. Hong Kong, maybe one of those markets with slightly higher than usual proportion of individual consumers. I think at the peak, probably Thailand was the market that we have the highest share, like 60% of our users used to be individual consumers. A lot of people moving houses in Bangkok. But nowadays, I think Thailand also followed the norm, especially after we opened up Chonburi. We have a lot more SMEs than before. And how to make our business scalable is through all the tech that we do. We are not the deep tech type of startup. So we don't invent something that we can get patent and then get a Nobel Prize. But we make use of existing tech, especially tech that can help us to scale up. Scale is the most important single vocabulary in the platform business. If you have no scale, you have no chance. So all the things we do, from how to onboard drivers, how to manage their service level, how to push through the user through the funnel, everything we do, from facial recognitions, big data, AI, algorithm, all this, they are all known techs, but we make the best use of all this tech, not commercialize the tech, but use tech to help with our commercializations. So the tech platform that we have, the foundation, is the same platform that we have in mainland China, Hong Kong, and all the market around the world. But for the individual market, on top of the foundations, we do specific customizations. In examples, in areas like map, usually the functions are very local. Payment method, we have different e-wallet for specific markets. And then language, of course. In some cases, because of the local currency, we have to adjust our UX UI to cater for the number of zero in Indonesia and Vietnam. And also, one thing that is not so much about the tech, but we do tailor-made for individual market, is the way we communicate with our users and driver partners, not just in the language, but the tone and be culturally sensitive. Also, we have not just delivery business. We talk to our users and driver a lot. And one of the feedback we've got over the years, especially in Southeast Asia, is can you do ride hailing so that I can stack passengers together with delivery? Then they can earn more revenue during the peak. So eventually, we started our ride services from beginning of August last year. Started with Indonesia, which is now pretty successful despite two very big competition in Indonesia. We are going to open our second cities in ride-hailing in Indonesia tomorrow. Not just in Jakarta, we'll start in Bandung tomorrow. Bandung is a city that link up with the high-speed rail. And then we are also in Vietnam, ride-hailing in Vietnam. We have ride-hailing in Thailand, Malaysia, and we just started Manila. Today is Wednesday. On Monday, this is our third day in Manila. Sorry, today is Wednesday or Thursday? Wednesday. Today is our yeah. And because I have been too excited about Manila. First day when we open up in Manila, it's already beat all the market except Jakarta. And then second day, yesterday, we completed more than 100 orders already in Manila. So very good market to have. And I talk about tech that help us to scale, but as a tech platform, these are the other areas that we pay a lot of attention. We have more than 200 tech staff based in Hong Kong that usually deal with the international issues. We have a couple of thousands in Shenzhen. We have our anti-fraud and map teams in Beijing. We have our machine learning and pricing team in Shanghai. We'll open up another 2 tech teams, one in Wuhan and one in Changsha. So altogether, a good part of our workforce are all tech experts. So as a tech platform, you got to make sure your UX UI is user-friendly because you're dealing with, in some cases, casual users, in some cases, not highly educated driver partners. You need to make sure that your data is secure because a lot of sensitive information go through your platform. And you want to make sure that your tech is catching up with all the new technologies, new versions. And the most challenging thing is imagine the number of different mobile phone models we need to deal with. Model that you are buying the latest from Apple and Android in Hong Kong to can you imagine the type of model they use in Dhaka, all right? So there is half a floor in our Shenzhen office for compatibility testing. And there's a huge wall with all sorts of mobile phone model you can go back that we used like 10, 15 years ago. We still need to cater for them. Last but not the least, people is very important in our business, I would say. I've been talking to our team. Last month, we have our annual leadership gathering. And I was asking them that, well, we have our tech around for 11 years. Of course, keep improving and evolving. And we have our funding. Luckily, we have been quite successful in our funding. We are never short of money. But why we have been doing a lot better over the last 3-4 years? Well, because we have a very capable team. Everywhere we go, with an exception of one market, the local market leader, they are not assigned from head office. They are all locally recruited. The only one is, again, in Dhaka, we have someone from Indonesia helping to manage the market for now. And in many of the market, the local, they do misunderstood that we are from local. So one example, my boss, my founder, told me a few years ago, one of his domestic helper from Philippines told him that, sir, you know, there is a business, same as yours, in Philippines. And what company was that? It's called Lalamove. So this is exactly the type of image that we want to project. We want, because we deal with SME in the local market, we deal with local driver partners. We want to be extremely local. We want to understand their needs, their challenge. What can we do to help to add value, to help their business, to help their income, to help them to take care of their family. So the kind of communication and branding that we do is extremely local. So I hope that such a very short sharing, I'm sure there may be some other question in your mind, feel free to ask, can show to you that a Hong Kong company, actually we are not that big. The other guy, the blue guy, actually is still a little bit bigger than us because they started 8 months before we do. But Hong Kong contribute less than 0.1% of our business. And mainland China, we are the market leader. And we continue to replicate our model around the world. So we want to make sure that every time when you go to overseas, you can see minivan, trucks with the Lalamove sticker that you can be proud of. Thank you.
Buying movie tickets,
Economics.
going to restaurants.
Big fish market is the GBA. Going to do exactly the same
Place
thing.
cash.